It's called India's Silicon Valley. Bengaluru, which has a cosmopolitan culture, young generation, IT capital of India. But many offices were shut down yesterday. Curfew imposed and a situation never seen before. Even though there have been Khabare protests in the past, in 91 as well, there were riots in 2002. You'd seen similar protests, but situation never went out of control. Congress government has many questions to answer. Sisodia, is he losing grip on the law and order situation? Wasn't he anticipating such build-up with emotions over Kaveri water row as the Supreme Court delivered its verdict saying 12,000 cusecs of water needs to be given to Tamil Nadu, down from 15,000, but over the period of 5 more days. My colleague Jugal Rohith has been on the ground getting us this latest report. What's happening this morning?
This is the stretch which has seen the maximum number of incidents of violence, of arsoning. We also saw that extremely infamous and shocking visual of the KPN depot being completely gutted. 35 buses is the number that we got yesterday. Today I'm told that the city has better policing, the administration is better placed, and there are close to 15,000 people, or rather security personnel, who are on ground to maintain peace and to ensure there is no repeat of yesterday. What we will do now is we will start on this particular route, the worst affected route, and take you right through to the KPN depot just to see what are the kind of arrangements and what's the situation existing. इधर 144
से इधर लिमिट
ओके
पुलिस लाठी चार्ज हो गया
अच्छा
नहीं,
लेकिन आपको बोला है बंद करने के लिए ये पुलिस ने बंद करने को बोला
पुलिस ने बोला है हाँ अभी मूविंग था पेट्रोल अभी वो पुलिस वाला आते हैं क्लोज कर दिया ओके पुलिस ऑर्डर
They don't necessarily have to be seen so as to be effective, but what we are seeing right now is a semblance of normalcy. Many shops are open, people are moving around, there are auto rickshaws on the road, and as you can see, there are people who are waiting for essential supplies out here as well. In fact, they are protesting that the pump is not open when they are already here to purchase fuel. One thing, however, that needs to be said is that all along in our journey from the town hall till this point, we've not seen any police presence whatsoever. But as I said, they do not necessarily have to be seen to be effective. It does seem that at least for now, there is a semblance of normalcy, even though, I repeat, the police administration is nowhere to be seen. Shops and establishments that we saw along this particular highway between Bangalore and Mysuru were shut. There is this temple which is open and it looks as if there has been no problem whatsoever. Let's try and speak to a few of them.
ये तो ओपन किया हुआ है कुछ मालूम नहीं अभी क्या होता है मालूम नहीं
अच्छा लेकिन बाकी सब तो बंद है तो आप लोगों ने ओपन किया है
हाँ मंदिर ओपन हुआ है ना इसलिए हमारा मंदिर का व्यापार है ना इसलिए मंदिर को लिए ओपन किया है
Till about yesterday, this was a part of Bengaluru which very few people, perhaps those in the neighborhood and with some reason to know, knew about this area. But today it is in the national limelight. This is the KPN depot, the images of which shocked the entire country and actually brought to the forefront the extent of devastation, the extent of the administration's complete absenteeism in terms of tackling these protests is concerned. We're here at the site and you can see that there is normalcy, but it is still smoldering. The smoke still is emanating. The air is thick with that stench out here at the KPN depot. They came inside a civilized area, a place where people stay. They managed to do all of this and they also made their way out. Of course, this was a way of inflicting economic damage upon someone who had links with Tamil Nadu. Most of the buses that we see out here had Karnataka registration. But as I said, today is a different day. The administration is promising a more effective presence. It is promising a better day. We'll have to see how it goes. There is normalcy around us, but in terms of police and administration's presence, unfortunately, the situation has not changed much. We conclude our journey, which started from the town hall, and we end up here at the worst affected site of the violence which hit Bengaluru at the KPN depot. With camera person Shiva Gurumurthy in Bengaluru, Jugal Rohith reporting for India Today.
Well, that's a ground update that my colleague Jugal has filed just a short while back. Security presence has increased since yesterday, but interstate buses still not running between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. My colleague Pratibha is joining us from Mysuru. She is at the spot where the India Today crew yesterday was attacked by some goons. Today also, Pratibha, we see that yesterday there was no police presence. Today there has been a significant security which has been provided at the spot. We understand that you're with people, and there was also pressure because cops were around the place where you're reporting from, and they thought that these could be again some goons who are creating trouble. So they are around you at the moment.
Well, in fact, with regards to the curfew that has been imposed in different locations, including this particular area where I'm standing right now, nobody is allowed to actually gather in groups. In fact, what you see right on your screen now is the Gopalan Mall, which is here, which is one of the famous malls here in this particular area, which was actually ransacked yesterday. In fact, what we learned from the people here is that many of them actually went begging to all of these protesters, trying to ensure that no acts of vandalism would take place. But then all of them fell on deaf ears. I have with me one of the state secretaries of the JDS. क्या आप बता सकते हैं कि ये एक तरह की इनकॉम्पिटेंसी है जो कर्नाटका गवर्नमेंट की एक कावेरी जो है जो इतनी इमोशनल इशू है उसकी वजह से लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की जो प्रिपरेशन होनी चाहिए वो नहीं थी कन्नडದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ
ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಗಿಂತ ಕನ್ನಡದವರಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರೆಲ್ಲ ರೊಚ್ಚ ಕೇಳೋ ಅಂಥ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಬಂತು. ಅದೇ ಈ ಥರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಇದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋರು. ಇವಾಗ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಈ ಥರ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಫಸ್ಟೇ ಅವರು ಅಲ್ಲಾಗಿದ್ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮನ್ನು ಟಿ ವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ದಾಗ್ಲೇ ಇವರು ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದೋಬಸ್ತ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಯಿತು. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದಾದ ಕಾರಣ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಅನಾಹುತ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Well, in fact, he does blame the fact that there was not enough bandobast that was actually done, keeping in mind the kind of vandalism that the city did witness. But at the same time, they were really not as prepared, mainly because they did not really think that it would escalate in such a manner. That comes as a big shock, mainly because Kaveri, such an emotional issue, shouldn't the government really be prepared? After 24 hours, we see an emergency meeting that is being called for by the Chief Minister. And after 24 hours, we see extra forces deployed in different pockets of the city.
Okay, Pratibha, also if you could ask the JDS supporter that reaching out to the opposition as well, because now even as he's planning a cabinet meet at 11 a.m, have there been steps taken by him to ensure that all the political parties are on board and give out a united message to people to maintain calm?
Well, in fact, let me actually pose that question to the State Secretary of JDS here. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟೀಸು ಇರತ್ತಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದಾರಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್?
ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಮಾಜಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಎಚ್ ಡಿ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು ಈ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಇವತ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಜಕೀಯದ ಪಕ್ಷದ BJP ಅವರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, JDS ಅವರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಅವರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವತ್ತೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಮೇಶ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಇವತ್ತೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ 11 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಸೇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನಿರ್ಧಾರವನ್ನು ತಗೋತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನತೆಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗ್ದಂಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂತ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ರಮೇಶ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
He is here with the hope that this all party meeting would actually try to ensure that law and order would be maintained, number one, and also the fact that there would be solution that will be sought, a long-term solution in order to ensure that justice would be given to Karnataka.
All right, Pratibha, before we let you go, can you take our viewers through what's happening around you and how there is a presence of security forces as well? When you were talking to us, there were also cops who were moving behind you, because now Section 144 is set to be imposed for yet another day.
That's right. In fact, curfew that has been imposed in 16 locations, including this particular area that I'm standing in. In fact, let me actually go across to some of the mall authorities who can actually give us a picture. Yesterday must have been one of the most unforgettable days of your life.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Yes.
Right. Can you actually take us through what exactly happened?
No, actually, the crowd was gathering here. They were burning the vehicles that side. All of a sudden, some group came inside and started pelting stones. It about after 5 o'clock. Exactly, I do not know the time. I have not seen. 5 o'clock. Suddenly, we request them. We fell on their feet, folded hands. We requested because we are also supporters for the Kaveri Bandh. See, last time also we have closed the mall. Today also, the moment we found that there is some problem, immediately we closed the mall at about 11:30, 12. But it took some 15, 20
How
minutes.
many people were there and what kind of vandalism?
No, see, you can see how people brought, just this is the witness for that. Everybody was holding stones and pelting wherever they wanted.
What we are given to understand is that there were at least about 1,000 to 2,000 protesters who were more than 3,000 protesters who were actually gathered here. Not one security officer, not one police officer. Hundreds of calls that were made to 100 and absolutely no answers there. These are the kind of complaints that have that we are getting here right at this mall. In fact, one look here, as you can see, the kind of vandalism, the damage that was done to this mall, and all eyes are on this particular extra forces that have been deployed in different pockets, trying to ensure that law and order would be maintained. Every Bangalorean is now hoping that this sense of calm would actually continue for the rest of the day, and that is what they are hoping for, especially with the emergency meeting that has been called for by the Chief Minister.
Now, Pratibha, you've been reporting for a long time. You see behind you also we see broken glasses. Monday is one of the hotbeds for Kaveri water row. But has the situation escalated to such a point? Because yesterday evening around 6 is when curfew was imposed. Rapid action forces were called in because clearly the mob fury was such that cops were outnumbered. We're also looking at Bengaluru pitching in for Parvasi Bharatiya Divas, which is around the corner in January. And this is the Silicon City of India, which is sending out a signal of disturbance, turmoil, violence that we see on the ground. Today, you've been traveling across Mysuru as well. Have you encountered peace or have you encountered sporadic protests?
Well, in fact, so far, no. It has been absolutely calm and cool right since morning, especially through the entire city of Bangalore, especially this particular junction, which is the Mysore Road, which actually connects Mysuru to Bangalore. And this was one of those stretch of roads where you saw protests galore with several such sporadic incidents of vandalism. In fact, what is shocking also is the fact that the KPN travels with about 35 buses that were actually set ablaze also took place in this very area. But today, absolute sense of calm that you see in this particular junction that was completely on the contrary yesterday, with several security forces who are doing the rounds, patrolling everywhere, trying to ensure that people do not gather in groups. In fact, what you see right now is also these police officers trying to check on us to see if we are actually being the cause for people actually gathering here. So that is the kind of patrolling. But then this could have happened yesterday. This is the question that is being pointed out by several of the Bangaloreans. Where were these police officers yesterday? Where were these extra forces yesterday? Why wasn't the emergency meeting called for yesterday to ensure that a public appeal would be done to make sure that the miscreants are caught? Even now, those miscreants who were indulging in untoward activities here in the city of Bangalore, why haven't they been arrested?
Absolutely, Pratibha. And here's another big question, because there have been at least 2 bans in past 1 week since the Supreme Court verdict had come out. Also, we had seen the lockdown situation that Bengaluru was in yesterday. IT offices have been shut, schools, colleges have been shut. The United States has issued an advisory to its citizens to be careful on the streets of Bengaluru. So that's the kind of global focus that Bengaluru attracted yesterday with the scenes of violence depicted. There was a shadow over Parvasi Bharatiya Divas as well. So, Pratibha, there has been a massive negative signal that has gone on, loss for the businesses as well. Around you also we can see today the shops are completely closed, shutters are down. Are there any efforts being made to ensure that citizens gain the confidence back for the normal life to come back? And you just spoke to the mall owner who said he's still scared. He's still scared in spite of the security presence around him.
That's right. Definitely tension has gripped the entire city. In fact, what we gather from different Bangaloreans here who we've been speaking to is the fact that what happened yesterday was definitely a dangerous reminder to what happened in 1991 with respect to the riots, even though one would say that it was just 5% of what was actually witnessed in 1991. But then that sense of fear, whether it is going to be a repeat of what actually happened then, these are some of the questions that were actually doing the rounds in every Bangalorean's minds yesterday, especially with regards to the public appeal that was made by the Bangalore police as well as the Karnataka government, ensuring that people do not venture out, people who have Tamil Nadu registration vehicles do not really come out. That's the kind of tension as well as panic that you saw in Bangalore yesterday. But then things have actually changed to a small extent this morning with respect to the private vehicles, at least, who have been plying on the roads, though buses have been off roads. Sense of calm, yes, but then that fear still definitely exists.
Thanks for joining us. Also, my colleague Ashish is filing this report from Mandya. It's another hotbed where protests were witnessed yesterday. Let's take a look at that.
Situation you can see behind me, police deployments are there, and right now situation is calm, but I can say an uneasy calm is prevailed in this particular city. We spoke to the local administration. They are saying that they are very much prepared to tackle any kind of situation, as well as the state government is also saying that they have deployed some 15,000 police personnel in the state to maintain a law and order. In Mandya, Ashish for India Today.
Let's go across to my colleague Jugal as well, who is filing this report from the KPN depot. It is a transport hub where you get connecting buses to Tamil Nadu. No buses plying today. At least 40 buses were torched yesterday by mob. Miscreants haven't been identified. Today there are charred remains of the fury that Bengaluru witnessed yesterday.
Till about yesterday, this was a part of Bengaluru which very few people, perhaps those in the neighborhood and with some reason to know, knew about this area. But today it is in the national limelight. This is the KPN depot, the images of which shocked the entire country and actually brought to the forefront the extent of devastation, the extent of the administration's complete absenteeism in terms of tackling these protests is concerned. We're here at the site and you can see that there is normalcy, but it is still smoldering. The smoke still is emanating. The air is thick with that stench out here at the KPN depot.
So that's an update coming from KPN depot where violence was witnessed. Also from Mandya, my colleague Pratibha is near Mysuru right now. So Pratibha, around you we can see shops shut, completely shutters down. What is the local saying at the moment? When are they likely to open the shops? Because that will be the first signal of normalcy returning to the area.
Well, in fact, what we understand from the police is that until September 14th, this curfew will definitely continue to exist, at least in 16 locations of Bengaluru. And also the other parts would also soon follow, mainly because today being Bakrid, there are certain areas where the curfew has actually been lifted so that people can actually go out to celebrate this particular festival. But important junctions like this, especially areas like the Mysuru road that you see, which actually witnessed a lot of protests yesterday. Traffic came to a standstill. Protest galore as well as vehicles set ablaze, and also the shocking images that you saw just a little while ago with respect to the KPN travels that was actually set ablaze yesterday. All of this happened in this particular area. But today, a sense of calm definitely. But then that fear that exists in everyone's minds as to what happened yesterday is something that is going to be etched in their memories for a very, very long time. And that is something that they are not going to be able to forget. Number one. Number two, they are also hoping that this sense of calm would actually continue to exist for the rest of the day. They're hoping that protests wouldn't really happen. They're hoping that these extra forces that have been deployed would actually ensure and live up to the expectations, unlike yesterday. These are the kind of hopes that they are living in. At the same time, that sense of fear continues to exist. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Pratibha. We'll come back to you for more updates. So, situation returning to normalcy this morning in Karnataka. Security forces have been deployed in different pockets. Additional RAF were called yesterday. So, there are about 15,000 security personnel on the ground, but curfew continues in Karnataka. Even as letter wars is brewing between Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and Karnataka Chief Minister. More about that on the other side. The politics of Kaveri is in focus next. Stay with us.
As Kaveri River fury floods Karnataka and Bengaluru burns, India Today gets you up close with the fearsome fallout. With the biggest team on ground, 5 reporters on India Today's biggest story, Kaveri violence. Complete coverage only on India Today.